Hey there, and welcome to The Drive, CBSNews.com's show where we tell you who's up and who's down in the race for the Republican presidential nomination. Now, summer is unofficially over, and we are moving into the real exciting period of the campaign. September is giving us 3 debates. We've got Mitt Romney laying out his jobs plan, Michelle Bachmann shaking up her campaign, Ron Paul trying to make a splash, all sorts of stuff happening. So let's get right to it with our probable, I have to admit now, front runner, Rick Perry. Now, I was skeptical about making Perry our front runner on our big board here, but there have been enough polls out now that just show Perry really just skyrocketing ahead of Mitt Romney. The question becomes, will he be able to hold on to this momentum? We've seen in campaigns past, some candidates have really struggled after this big initial splash to keep that momentum going. There's a debate tomorrow that will be a real test of that. Now, that's if Perry shows up. He's in Texas dealing with wildfires right now, and his campaign says he's going to be there, but they also say the situation is fluid, so we may or may not see Rick Perry at the California debate. But if we do, all eyes are going to be on him, because this is really going to be the first exposure a lot of Republicans have had to Perry. They hear about him, he's sort of the flavor of the month, just like Michelle Bachmann used to be, but once people get to know him, the question is, do the poll numbers hold up? But there have been enough polls now, they're showing him up by maybe 10 points, 15 points on Mitt Romney, that I think we have to make him the front runner. So let's go to the big board. We have Perry and Romney co-front runners here on the 30. You see Perry right here. Well, he is skyrocketing ahead, and we have a new single front runner, and that would be Texas Governor Rick Perry on the 35. Now, as for Romney, who's on the 30, and that's where he's going to stay, he unveiled on Tuesday his jobs plan. Romney's strategy has been interesting. It's basically been, I'm going to stay above the fray. I'm going to basically pretend I'm already in the general election, not get bogged down in sort of the infighting among the other Republican presidential candidates. Well, that works when you're the front runner. But when you've got a guy like Perry who's suddenly shot ahead of you, you need to start to say, is it time that I start taking shots at Perry and some of these other folks? Is it time I sort of get down into the muck? So on Wednesday's debate, it'll be really interesting to see, does Romney keep trying to sort of stay above the fray? He was able to do that in the last debate because you had Michelle Bachmann and then candidate Tim Pawlenty sort of going at it and ignoring him. But you know, he's either going to have to start taking shots at Perry, or he's going to have to just find a way to sort of stem his momentum, Perry's momentum. So that'll be really interesting to watch. The next candidate I want to talk about is Ron Paul. Now, Ron Paul is a guy who is hovering around 8–10% in polls. Most political reporters think that's where his ceiling is. But he unveiled an attack ad on Perry this week that was meant to say, you know what, I'm not just a message candidate. I'm a serious contender for this nomination, and I'm going to spend the money to prove it. Paul's best chance to really make a splash is this month because you have these 3 debates. It's his chance to get his views out there, and they're different than the views of a lot of the other candidates. I'm going to take Paul and I'm going to move him up a little bit on our board. We have him here on about the 15. I'm just going to move him up a little bit to about the 20. Not too exciting, but I think this ad that they put out really shows that they're serious about being a contender this time around. He's still a real long shot for the nomination, but you know, he's making some waves and they're worth paying attention to. Next, let's talk about Michelle Bachmann. We have her here on the 15-yard line. Bachmann really just, August 13th was supposed to be a great day for her. That was the Iowa straw poll, which she won. But it was also the day that Rick Perry got into the race. And ever since then, Bachmann has really lost her momentum. She's fallen back in the polls. There's not a lot of buzz around her, and she's trying to find a way to reverse that. So what did she do over Labor Day weekend? Big campaign shakeup. A guy named Ed Rollins, who had been central to her campaign, is taking a much reduced role, and they're basically trying to find a way to win back this momentum. Now, I'm not sure how they do it. I mean, Perry really is sucking up all of the oxygen on the social and fiscal conservative side, and he's sort of emerged as the anti-Romney candidate. Bachmann has to find a way to win back folks, and she has to find a way to broaden her appeal. I'm not sure that she can do that, and I'm actually going to move Bachmann back a little bit because I just don't see where the opportunity is for her in this race. Now, that doesn't mean she can't come back, but certainly things aren't looking great for her right now, so we are just going to move her back a little bit here, back to about the, I don't know, we'll call that the 12-yard line. It's a very imprecise method we have here on the drive, but that's where we're going to leave her. Now, as for the rest of the pack, quickly, we've got 5 folks here, 4 of them just struggling to stay relevant, and then 1, Sarah Palin, who no one can seem to stop talking about even though she's not in the race. There's a reason for that. Palin gave 2 speeches in Iowa and in New Hampshire over the weekend. She's trying to stay relevant. She says she's going to make a decision by September, so another reason September is going to be exciting. We hopefully will finally find out if Sarah Palin is going to be in the race. Now, you see I have her in the back with a lot of the other candidates, and that's because frankly, she remains incredibly divisive. CBS News polling and other polls show that even Republicans, a majority of Republicans, don't want her in the race. Her negatives are huge. She has done nothing to lay the groundwork for a campaign, but she's Sarah Palin. She's unconventional, and you never know what could happen. So we have to keep an eye on her. In any event, that's all we have for the drive today. Thank you for being with us. Stay with us as we talk about the state of the Republican presidential campaign. I'm Brian Montopoli, and we will see you next time.